Arizona's attorney general has subpoenaed 2 congressmen in the state of Arizona. That's Andy Biggs and Paul Gosar, 2 individuals that I've got no love for. And the reason why they're being subpoenaed is due to their role in the fake elector scheme to overturn the state's 2020 election results. Now, as a result, they will have to testify in front of a grand jury, which is a contentious part of all of this. We'll get to that in just a moment. But don't get too excited, because according to Politico, which broke this story, there is no indication that Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays is planning on handing criminal charges to either one of these representatives. The 2 are being subpoenaed due to their involvement in the strategizing and planning to basically reverse the results of the election with the fake elector scheme. And they were in communication with the Trump camp as they were coordinating this. Now, both tried to challenge the state's presidential electors on January 6, 2021, when Congress met to certify the results of the Electoral College. Gosar was mounting that challenge at the same moment a pro-Trump mob broke into the Capitol and halted proceedings. Further, both lawmakers attended a White House meeting with Trump on December 21st of 2020 to strategize for how then Vice President Mike Pence could block the certification of the election results, according to the January 6th Select Committee. So Biggs also reportedly contacted Mark Meadows, including after Election Day 2020, when Biggs pushed for the state legislature to overrule the results of the state where Biden won. And then Biggs also told Meadows that Trump should not concede to Biden. Whatever he does, don't concede. And Biggs reportedly helped another Arizona Republican with the fake elector scheme. Arizona was one of the 7 states, of course, where Trump and his allies assembled a slate of alternate or fraudulent electors to contest Biden's victory. In recent weeks, Mays's office has sent out a wave of grand jury subpoenas. She also has required Arizona Republicans who falsely claim to be the state's presidential electors to assert their 5th Amendment rights in front of the grand jury, which is actually an unusual step that has generated criticism from some former prosecutors. And the reason why, Cenk, is because when you plead the 5th before a grand jury, apparently the jury does not like that. They don't favor that. Pleading the 5th is not an admission of wrongdoing, but grand jurors who watch someone invoke the amendment might unfairly assume the person is guilty. And so a criminal defense lawyer in Phoenix told Politico, quote, "Is it weird? Yeah, I would say this is highly unusual. Is it permissible, meaning having them plead the 5th before the grand jury? Yes. Is it a good idea? Definitely not." Curious what you think about that, Cenk, along with your thoughts on the subpoenas and how at this late date, the Attorney General of the state has decided to really aggressively pursue this investigation.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth, as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you. First of all, if someone pleads the 5th, I assume they're guilty. And I think that it's fair to assume they're guilty. So if that shocks your liberal conscience, sorry. But I've believed that my whole life. I think there's way better ways of preventing torture by the police or abuse by the police once you're in detention. This whole idea of like, I don't have to say anything, and if I don't say anything, you should assume I'm innocent. No, I assume you're guilty. If you were innocent, you'd tell me why you were innocent. So I know, people hate when I say that, but it's just, that's reality. And you know who unfortunately agrees with me, but ironic in this case, is Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has said many, many times that if you take the 5th Amendment, everybody knows you're guilty, you're obviously guilty, right? He agrees with me, so that was kind of funny that I put it in his voice. But anyways, but until of course he was charged with crimes, and then he started taking the 5th Amendment ad nauseum hundreds of times, which by the way proves my point and his point. He's obviously guilty, okay? So same thing in this case, if you ask me. Now, in terms of the prosecutor, this one might be relatively new. So we'd have to look into when she became the attorney general in Arizona, because the other attorney generals, including of course Merrick Garland at the national level, they purposely sat on all of these cases. They didn't want to prosecute Trump. Their cases are not political in my opinion, but the timing of the cases are political. They were not. It didn't look like they were going to prosecute Trump until he decided to run for re-election. That's my opinion. Again, if you want to get angry about that, you can. But look at the timing in every one of the other cases, and you'll see they waited. Oh, he is running. Okay, now let's try to prosecute him. Otherwise, they were going to let him get away with it because he's one of the elites. And in this case, look, guys, fascinating things happening on the right again. Okay. Politics and ideology in the political spectrum does not shift that often, but right now it's starting to be chaotic because, and I know that this is anecdotal, but I'm beginning to see it way more. In fact, I never saw it before, and now I'm seeing it all over the place. So I wrote on social media today about how, this dumbass Donald Trump, if he hadn't tried to steal the 2020 election and hadn't lied about losing, right now, he'd be winning in a landslide against Joe Biden. He's already winning in 6 out of 7 swing states. And the main reason independents are concerned about him and Democrats are, so nervous about him and will go out to vote against him is because he tried to end democracy last time. So he did it not through the riots. That was a part of it. The main thing was his fake elector plot. So, but the thing that's surprising is, now when I write that on social media, a whole bunch of right-wingers are starting to say, yeah, I know, I'm really frustrated with him. Like, will you just shut up already, right? Like, because some people obviously love Donald Trump. And if you say one unkind thing, that's it, they'll hate you forever, right? But there's also a pretty significant chunk of Republicans and definitely of independents who think, look, I like him because he's anti-establishment, and I can't stand Joe Biden. I can't stand the Democrats, right? So I'm going to vote against them. But God damn it, just shut up already, man, right? And I hadn't seen that before, but that is beginning to happen on the right wing, and I think that maybe some of them are beginning to see that. Yeah, of course he lost the election last time around, and of course he's a narcissistic crybaby. And yes, it was a fake elector plot, which is in a coup against America.